Thanks for taking the time to check out Hello Good Game. If this is your first time tuning in, be sure to subscribe to the channel for your chance to win up to 500,000 gems. That's right, you guys. 500,000 gem giveaway brought to you by yours truly, Hello Good Game. Just for subscribing to the channel, it's a great way to support you guys while supporting channel growth. I was going to pay advertisers to help grow the channel, but I'd much rather put that money in the pocket of my viewers themselves. So, with that being said, today we are making a limited guide. We're going to talk about the format, the archetypes, and the strategy of limited Theros Beyond Death. There's a lot to get into. We have a lot of really cool archetypes and a lot of really cool synergies within the set. So let's get right into it. We're really going to want to build our decks around the cards that we pull. So first step is to identify what bombs you're pulling. So I use a tier list, and then once I have my pool, or if I'm drafting, obviously I'll use the draft helper, and that's going to give me the tier list as well. But for sealed, you open all your packs at once. So then I open up a tier list, and I'm just kind of sorting through and making sure I'm aware of all the good cards that I pulled in my pool. So there's going to be a link in the description to an article by Compulsion and Drifter, two of the writers for MTG Arena Zone. Again, a great place to find all of your information. This is basically just a transcribed video from one of their articles that Compulsion wrote. He's been on our channel a few times doing drafts. A great guy and just filled with useful information. So be sure to check out MTG Zone and some of Compulsion's articles. Overview some of these bomb cards in the different archetypes that we're going to be pulling. First up, we have Azureus. This is a flying / aura card advantage deck. Our nukes are Dream Trawler and Staggering Insight. Dream Trawler has lifelink and flying. Whenever you draw a card, Dream Trawler is going to get +1/+0 until end of turn. Whenever Dream Trawler attacks, you're also going to draw a card, and then you can discard a card. Dream Trawler gains hexproof until end of turn, and you tap it. So this card is a bomb. It says 3/5, but you draw at the start of your turn. You draw when you attack. He gets +1/+0 when you draw. So he's a minimum 5/5 flying lifelink when he attacks. That is disgusting, you guys. Secondly, we have Staggering Insight. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1, has lifelink, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So this is just such huge card advantage. You're going to be drawing like a madman. And these are our two bombs of Azureus: Flyers, Auras, and card advantage. Orzhov, Auras, and Sacrifice. This is held together by two really unique cards: Kronos, Hound of Theros, and Rise to Glory. Kronos is a 3-drop, a legendary creature who is a hound. He's a 3/3 with Vigilance, Lifelink, and Menace. Creature cards in graveyards can't enter the battlefield, so that directly shuts down Escape. Players can't cast spells from the graveyard, also shutting Escape down. Rise to Glory for 5. Choose one or both. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Return target aura card from your graveyard to the battlefild. So this is really great. You can pick a creature, throw an aura on him, bring him back to the battlefield for 5. So a really unique resurrection spell here. Boros. With Boros, we can go wide. We're also using combat tricks. Two of our bombs here are Rakdos the Unscared. Rakdos the Unscared attacks each combat if able. As Rakdos enters the battlefield, choose 2, 3, or 4 at random. Rakdos has protection from each converted mana cost other than the chosen number. He's a 6/1 and costs 4 to drop. Legendary creature, human warrior, you guys. Obviously, you're playing sealed, so you only have one anyways, so you don't really get punished for taking legendary creatures. It would be really rare of you to be able to pull 2 legendaries and 1 sealed. And even then, you could probably still work them both into your deck. Alongside him, we have Hero of the Nyxburn. This card costs 3 to drop. It's a 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token, and whenever you cast a spell that targets him, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. So this is really great because you're going to be going really wide with this build, and then you're going to be casting an enchantment or a combat trick on your hero, and then everybody's just going to get that much stronger from it. Selesnya, Aura, and Enchantments. This is held together by Bronzehide Lion and Sonya, Captain of the Pleiades. The first Bronzehide Lion is a 2-drop and a 3/3, so base value here is absolutely disgusting, you guys. You can also pay 2 and give it indestructible until end of turn. When it dies, return it to the battlefield as an aura card attached to a creature you control that has pay 2, enchant creature gains indestructible until end of turn, and it loses all other abilities. So basically the same effect that he has on himself, but when he dies, that's going to come back on another creature, which is really cool. So good value there. Next up, Sonya, Captain of the Pleiades. When Captain enters the battlefield. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. You may reveal an aura card from among them, put it into your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Whenever an aura you control becomes attached to a creature you control, create a 1/1 white human soldier creature token, which is really good. That's so much value. Not only are you getting to draw off the top of your deck, find that specific card that you're looking for, but you're also going to be able to every time grow wider when you play an enchantment, which is really, really cool. So it's almost like a form of aggro. We do have a Dimir control / self-mill archetype for you guys. This focuses around the 2 bombs, Ashiok Nightmare Muse and Devour of Memory. Ashiok's Nightmare Muse is a planeswalker. It's going to cost 5. It comes in with 5 loyalty tokens. +1, create a 2/3 blue and black nightmare creature token with whenever this creature attacks or blocks, each opponent exiles the top 2 cards of their library. -3, return a target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Then that player exiles a card from their hand, which is really cool. -7, you may cast up to 3 face-up cards your opponent owns from exile without paying their mana cost, which is absolutely incredible value as well. Alongside this, we have an uncommon, Devourer of Memory. Whenever 1 or more cards is put into the graveyard from your library, Devourer of Memory gets +1/+1 until end of turn and can't be blocked this turn. That's absolutely incredible in a limited game. You can also pay 3, so it has a mana sink, which is also very, very good. Put the top card of your library into your graveyard. So you can see just how powerful this deck can be. Of our archetypes, we have Izzet, Draw, Go. So in this deck, we basically want to play all of our spells on our opponent's turn for extra value. The 2 bombs this focuses around is Dalkos, Crafter of Wonders. You can tap it, add 2 colorless mana, only to cast artifacts and activate abilities of artifacts. Equipped creatures you control have flying and haste, and that is the key component here. Flying in limited? Yes, please. Haste in limited? Absolutely. The key card that this pairs well with is Mischievous Chimera. It's a 2/2 with flying. Whenever you cast your first spell during your opponent's turn, Mischievous Chimera deals 1 damage to each opponent, and you get to scry 1, so that's really good value. You just be totally ticking down your opponent and making sure you've got that perfect draw for next turn. Favorite synergies is Simic Constellation. This focuses around enchantments, Uro, Titan of Nature's Wrath, and Europta, the twice favored. This combo is sick, you guys. I absolutely love it. When we look at Uro, this is a Elder Giant legendary creature. It's a 6/6 for 3, so incredible value. When it enters the battlefield, you sacrifice it unless it's escaped. The escape cost is 4, plus you exile 5 cards from your graveyard. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, you gain 3 life, draw a card, and then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. So you're drawing, you're ramping, and you're gaining life, you guys. That is a lot. Especially when you combo it with Eutropa, the twice favored. It says Constellation on it. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, you put a 1/1 counter on target creature. That creature gains flying until end of turn. Can you imagine a 7/7 with flying that gains you 3 life, draws you a card, and lets you ramp? Broken. Here in Rakdos Sacrifice / Aggro, it is Croxa, Titan of Death's Hunger. When it enters the battlefield, you sacrifice it unless it's escaped. You also can pay its escape cost for 4, plus exiling 5 other cards. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, each opponent discards a card. Then each opponent who didn't discard a non-land card this way loses 3 life. So that's pretty cool. Just having your opponent discard multiple times in one game in Limited is very, very groovy. This ties really well with Slaughter, Priest of Mogis. This is a 2-drop for 2. Whenever you sacrifice a permanent, Mogis is going to get +2/+0 until end of turn. You can also pay 2 to sacrifice another creature or enchantment. Mogis gains first strike until end of turn. So very good aggro because it is a 2-drop, a 2/2. You can give it first strike until end of turn and +2/+0. So potentially a 4/2 that is going to gain first strike if you need. So that's really, really cool. Archetype here is Golgari Escape. This is going to revolve around the 2 nukes, Polkaris Unchained, which I'm in absolute love with, and Alaquite of Affliction. Polkaris enters the battlefield with 6 1/1 counters on it. If it escapes, it enters with 12 1/1 counters on it. oh my gosh, if damage would be dealt to Pokeros while it has a 1/1 counter on it, prevent that damage and remove that many 1/1 counters from it. You can also pay 3, it fights another target creature, and you can escape it for 6, plus exiling 6 other cards from your graveyard. The great thing about this is it's limited and there is no questing beast, so you can actually get through and just destroy your opponents with this, because they don't have many ways right now to make sure that combat damage isn't prevented. We pair this with Alaquite of Affliction. When Alaquite of Affliction enters the battlefield, put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard, then you may return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. So this is a creature that allows you to sort through your deck, get it into the graveyard, so you can pull things from your graveyard with Escape. Lastly, we have Gruul aggro. This is going to consist of big creatures of power 4 or greater normally. The 2 bombs that really tie this deck together are Gallia of the Endless Dance and Warden of the Chained. Gallia is a satyr creature, so you're going to want to maybe stack satyrs if possible. Other satyrs you control get +1/+1 and have haste. Whenever you attack with 3 or more creatures, you may discard a card at random. If you do, draw 2 cards, which is insane value. And then Warden of the Chained. It has trample, it's a 4/4, and it can't attack unless you control another creature with power 4 or greater. But when your whole deck is based around that, you shouldn't have a problem. And this is just big baddies to smash home with, right? The different archetypes and the bombs you're looking to choose for those specific archetypes. So like I said at the beginning of this video, when you open your sealed pool or your draft pool, it's good to have your tier list up and open, or your draft helper open, just so you can see and sort those bombs and better pick them out, right? Because sometimes we miss cards that are specifically good just because our attention is drawn somewhere else. So with that being said, there's a couple other things we want to talk about. Removal is very strong in this set, and almost every color except for green has really good removal. And then even green has things like Return to Nature, which is specifically good in the set because it's filled with so many enchantments. Almost 100 enchantments, you guys. That's a third of the set. That is a ton of enchantments. As far as that goes, the set is a little bit slower than we've seen in the past, especially in sealed over draft. So you don't have to really worry about having perfect mana, and you could go to 3 colors if you really felt confident. And again, all of the creatures are kind of average, so you're really identifying those bomb cards and then building around it. So if you liked this brief intro to the archetypes, be sure to follow along to the rest of the video when we break them down and explore them even more. Talk about some of our key uncommons and common cards that we're going to use to fill out our deck and build around our nuke picks. So as far as Azor's Flyers go, this is an archetype in classic form that looks to win by controlling the game by poking with flyers and grabbing huge card advantage through our enchantment synergy. Our key uncommons here are Archon of the Falling Stars, Banishing Light, the Birth of Maltese, Shimmerwing Chimera, One with the Stars, Shroll Kraken. Some of our key commons are Daybreak Chimera, Dreadful Apathy, Revoke Existence, Witness of Tomorrows, Thirst for Meaning, and Deny the Divine. Auras and Sacrifice. This is an archetype that cares really about auras and has many ways to get extra value out of them, even if they end up in your graveyard. As a result, this color pair looks fairly grindy as usual, but we'll be looking to combo off some black sacrifice effects with white creature tokens. Some of our key uncommons are Hateful Idion, Elspeth's Nightmare, Inevitable End, Lagona, Banned Storyteller, Dawn Evangel, and Archon of the Falling Stars. Some of our key commons are Aspect of Lamprey, Myers Grasp, Soul Reaper of Mogis, Helioid's Pilgrim, Omen of the Sun, and Sentinel's Eyes. Boros is much more straightforward. We're going to flood the board with creatures, gain additional value through auras and combat tricks, often targeting creatures like Hero of the Nyxborn or Hero of the Pride. Our key uncommons here are Annex, Hardened in the Forge, Careless Celebrant, Fateful End, Commanding Presence, Helioid's Punishment, Favored by Auras, Iora's Blessing, Final Flare, Infuriate, Hero of the Pride, Indomitable Will, and Linen of the Lost Pride. Next up, we have Selesnya enchantments. Every color really runs enchantments pretty fluently because of there's so many enchantments, 100 of them, but Selesnya really makes good use of them, you guys. It's great for aggro and mid-range. Some of our key uncommons here are Nessian Wanderer, Retina Called to the Hunt, Destiny Spinner, Alced of Life's Bounty, Daxos Blessed by the Sun, Leogna, Band Storyteller. Some of our key commons: Voracious Typhoon, Nexus Wardens, Warbringer Blessing, Helioid's Pilgrim, Nyxborn Chorister, Triumphant Surge. Dimir, Control, and Self-Mill is going to be really strong as always. And instead of surveilling, now we're putting our escape cards into our graveyard for an additional value. We used to, whenever you would surveil something directly into the graveyard, you'd have an effect trigger. But now because of escape, when escape goes directly into the graveyard, we're going to have certain things trigger as well. So our key bombs here are Ashiok Nightmare Muse, Devourer of Memory, like we talked about, and then our key uncommons: Sage of Mysteries, Glimpse of Freedom, Midami's Prophecy, Mirror Triton, Cling to Dust, Drag to the Underworld. Some of our key commons: Thirst for Meaning, Naiad of Hidden Coves, Deny the Divine, Final Death, Myers Grasp, and Bright Breath Cataplease. Izzet Draw Go is going to depend on the following uncommons: Dreamstalker Manticore, Fateful End, Careless Celebrant, Stinging Lionfish, Thindroid Singer, Azureus Enraptured, and the following commons: Arena Trickster, which is my favorite of the set as far as a common goes, Omen of the Forge, Final Flare, Naiad Hidden of the Coves, Omen of the Sea, and Vexing Gull. Simic Constellation Enchantment Synergy is one of my favorite builds, and actually what I chose to play in the pre-release. We'll probably see that footage come out in a day or two. This deck thrives on casting enchantments multiple times to put 1/1 counters on creatures and give them flying via Eutropa Twice Favored. Some of our key uncommons are Calliphy, Beloved of the Sea, Shimmerwing Chimera, One with the Stars, Nessian Wanderer, Nyx Herald, and Nessian Hornbeetle. Nyx Herald is my favorite here because you're going to get a 1/1 and trample until end of turn, which is great. Some of our key commons are Itchy Morpheus, Brine Giant, Starlit Mantle, Nexus Wardens, Warbriar Blessing, Elysian Caratrid. Like I said earlier, Rakdos Sacrifice and aggro might not be super viable, but it sure could be fun if you pull it off. This is revolving around Kroxa's Titan of Death's Hunger and Slaughter Priest of Mogis. Some of our key uncommons are Grey Merchant of Asphodel, Farika's Spawn, Inevitable End, Blood Aspirant, Careless Celebrant, and the Triumph of Annex. Some of our key commons are Blight Breath Cataplease, Discordant Piper, Grim Physician, Underworld Charger, Final Flare, and Incinerary Oracle. Moving on to Golgari, this is an archetype that's really going to focus on escape. We have great removal in black and then huge creatures in green, so this deck's going to do really well as far as I'm concerned. Some of our key uncommons here are Grey Merchant of Asphodel, Mirror Triton, Farkas Spawn, Chainweb Anarch, Ferris Band Brawler, The Binding of Titans, and some of our key commons are Bright Breath Cataplease, Aspect of Lamprey, Underworld Charger, Voracious Typhoon, Skola Grove Dancer, Loathsome Chimera. Lastly, we have Gruul, which relies on big 4+ power creatures. It's a very nice mid-range deck, and it's going to really rely on green's commons. Some of our better uncommons for the deck are Triumph of Annex, Dreamshaper Shaman, Annex Hardened in the Forge, Furious Rise, Nessian Hornbeetle, and Renata Called to the Hunt. Some of our key commons are Ior's Blessing, Stampede Rider, Loathsome Chimera, Elysian Caradrid, Nyla's Huntmaster, and Return to Nature. We're going to close out this video by going over a little bit of sealed strategy. Like we talked about earlier, identify the bomb, build around it with what commons and uncommons you have available. Don't be afraid to ignore a bomb if none of your commons and uncommons support it. You're better off to use a more consistent deck than a deck that has the potential to be really good. I do want to talk about mana curve a little bit as we do progress, because we're going to have different types of mana curves. We're going to have one for an aggro, we're going to have one for a mid-range, and we're going to have a different mana curve for control as well. I've included a generic mana curve for an example. Your 1-drops are going to be 0 to 2, 2-drops 4 to 6, 3 drops, 3 to 5, 4 drops, 2 to 4, and 5 drops, 1 to 3, 6, 7, and 8 drops, 0 to 2. This mana curve example comes directly from WotC, so it's cool to build off this as an example. And then of course, if you're an aggro player, you're gonna want to push that curve more to the start, so you're getting out early, and when you're reaching turn 4, you're not playing 1 card for 4, you're playing 2 drops potentially, right? And then if you're a control deck, you're going to want to push that curve to the other side, and you're going to be getting a late game payoff and surviving the early fray, if you will, just with removal cards and life gain of the sort. That's all, you guys. That's all I have today. If this is something you found really interesting, be sure to let me know in the comments, and I can go more in depth in the future. Obviously, the production time on these videos is a lot higher than my typical videos, so I do want to keep with my momentum and get these videos out every day. That's why I didn't go more in depth. But if you guys really want that, obviously the rest of the audience is going to want that as well. So let me know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Remember your steps, identify your bombs, build around them based on your archetype cards. Don't be afraid to put out a bomb if your pool doesn't support it. You're better off to be consistent than to be a bomb player. But most of the time you're going to be able to build around those really good drops that you pick up. So thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We're live every morning on Twitch, 6 a.m. PST, and we will see you all later.